My name is Mauricio Gormaz. I'm still, I think, a relatively new director in Human Resources Department. And for those of you who are new, welcome to the new school year. I wanted to share with you this on the screen. Hopefully you can see that. I don't know if this sounds familiar, but if anyone ever asks you, hey, do you have a minute? Are you busy? I'm a longtime teacher, principal for about 12 years. So my office manager really was the heart and soul of our school. You guys do so much in terms of supporting our teachers, our communities, our kids, our parents, and even your site administrators. So I just want you to know that from Human Resources and from the district office, we really thank you for managing things when things get really busy. And we're interested in trying to find ways that we can increase efficiencies and to support you in the work that you have to do. So today, the objectives for me today are just really narrow. I want to review with you changes that we made to the request for board approval extra time Informed K12 form. The changes that we've made are going to minimize the hand entry that you have to do on the form in hopes of minimizing errors and increasing efficiencies and streamlining our processes. We've aligned and we've created a report that uses Oracle to generate the staff lists that before you were hand entering on page 2 of the Informed K12 request for board approval form. We hope that this increases efficiencies for sites and departments. We've gotten a lot of feedback this year about what was most time consuming, and we hope that for every school, we can free you up 10 to 15 minutes per request, hoping that this results in some increased efficiencies for you. So let me see if I can hop onto the VPN. Most of you included in your handouts, you have a form. This form, it's called a request for board approval extra time directions. So the reason I want to share that with you is because on Informed K12, on page 2, is where you would hand write in all of your requests. So let me show you what that looks like. So normally on this page for Informed K12, this is the area that for many office managers and initiators of extra time, we heard from you that this required a lot of time and it was very labor intensive. It also introduced a lot of error, and sometimes it was the reason why forms were denied and they were sent back to the site to do things correctly, whether it was the formatting or whether it was employee IDs. And so it introduced a lot of error for both the district office staff and for the initiator. Well, this form we are eliminating. We're not going to have anybody have to write it in freehand. So if we're eliminating that form, let me show you what replaces that second page. And essentially, I'm going to follow the directions that I have in this form. This is the request for board approval. This was included in your handouts. And I'm essentially going to follow these directions, which replaces the second page of the request for board approval. So give me a second. Okay, the first thing that I would like to bring to your attention is that the access for BI, it has to happen from a district computer, or it has to happen, if you're not at a district computer or the district network, it must happen when you're on the VPN. If I were to access the BI from my home and I'm not on the VPN, it will not give me access. So right now you see I'm at home, so I'm not on the district website. So I have to go to the district cloud and I have to go in through my VPN. So that's step 1 on the directions. I have the link. The Informed K12 form will have a live link where you can click directly onto the BI. But again, remember, if you're on Informed K12 at home and you click on the live link, It won't necessarily work because you're not on a district network and you're not on the VPN. So please keep that in mind. So when I log into my VPN, I will go into my BI. I've already logged in, it logged me out. So this is my home VPN. You would go to dashboards, and it looks a little different for a site user. So if you're an office manager, very likely it's on school sites and it would be your administrative dashboard. If you're a district office employee, it would be your HR tab or human resources tab. I'm going to go into my administrative dashboard, and one of the tabs when I go into my administrative dashboard is request for board approval. When I click on request for board approval, I'll get this, I'll have this page. On this page, you'll notice that I have 3 filters available for me. I can click on and see all my HR staff. So below, I see all the employees that I'm responsible for in HR. So if you're at a school site, this is where you would see all your staff at your school. This is a useful filter if I have probably more than 10 to 12 employees to be included. I would use this one. If, on the other hand, you don't want to use your site, but you want to use, you can also use a filter of job title. So if you're going to be doing a training for your teachers, you could also go here and you would be able to filter by job title at your school. So you could filter just for your job title. I recommend this if the training or extra hours are very narrowed to a particular function at your school. The other filter we have is employee ID. I would use this filter if I have less than 10 employees that I have to include. You do have to have the employee IDs. You would separate them by a colon and no spaces, and it would pull up all the employees that you have. Once you have your filtering, so once you select your filter, so let's say I have all of our HR staff here. The next step on the directions is to export to Excel. So once I have this already in the format that this would be submitted to HR, and in the same format that HR submits it to the board for approval. So I would come down here at the bottom of this page, I would export. Make sure that you export as Excel and not as PDF, because there's changes that you need to make to this report. So once you export and you export to Excel, depending on how large your file is, it would take just a few seconds for you to export, and it'll appear on the lower left hand. It'll have an Excel icon. You click on that, and now essentially you're out of BI, and all of that information has been automatically brought into Excel for us. The formatting is exactly in the formatting that it needs. So before, when you had to be so careful about the formatting and entering names, it's already done for you. The IDs have been brought in for you. The site and department has brought in for you. And the hourly rate and the hourly rate plus benefits and statutory benefits has been brought in for you. I know that some of this information is more than what you have normally entered, but that's for HR's use. So please do not eliminate any of the columns. Once you have it into Excel, we're requiring only 4 columns for you to enter. You would need to enter the title of activity, and please remember no caps, no all caps in that title of activity column. So standard formatting procedures. You would have to enter the funding source, and this would it would appear from the page 1 of the request for board approval on the drop-down box on page 1. You would enter the number of hours if this is an hourly engagement, and you would enter the date service from, and that is it. If you need to calculate the total, you can do that on your own, but please only enter the information in those 4 columns: title of activity, funding source, number of hours, or date service from. Some of you may say, if this is a hourly rate, where it says the flat hourly rate, so for our teachers, this would be the non-instructional rate, please put a yes in the flat hourly rate. That way our staff knows that this hourly, this time card is going to be paid based on the certificated flat hourly, and it's not going to be the instructional hourly rate. That is all you have to do here. You would still need to indicate the number of hours that need to be paid. Okay? Once you do that, you would save your document, and you would save as, and you would put it in a location that you're most comfortable with, that you're going to find. My recommendation is for you to have a place where you can have a history of all your requests for board approvals. So I would say this is my 2020 on August 20th request for board approval. That way, if there's any questions on a history of what I need to do, I can go back here and I can find it. Once you save it to your desktop, you would go back to the Informed K12 and you would attach that Excel file to the request for board approval request form. It would go through the approval process, and then the HR staff is essentially going to have this Excel file that's pre-formatted in a consistent way from all the various departments, and it'll be not only saving you some time, but it's also going to be saving and streamlining the processes for our HR staff as well. If you have any questions about the technological aspect of it, if you have any questions regarding BI, your username or password, or accessing this report, please make sure you contact the help desk or email the help desk for support with the technology and the access. If you have any questions about the process, about this form, about what information to fill out, if you are working on a certificated extra time form, the individual responsible is Rocio Carino. And if you have a classified process, your point person would be Yesenia Lopez. You could also email me. I'm Mauricio Gormas. If you have any trouble either with IT or with our HR staff, sometimes they get very busy. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to me as well. We're here to help you. We're here to support you. And we really do hope that you find this new process beneficial in terms of all the competing things that you have to do. We listened, we heard, we took feedback from departments, from our own staff about what we could do to be more supportive of the many competing things that you have on your plate on a day-to-day basis. We're here to support you, and we hope you find this useful. My suggestion for those who are at the district office and you have to submit requests for board approvals on a sort of larger scale, one is I would find the most common filter for you to do. So if you're, for example, if you're working with mild mod teachers, and this is coming from the special ed department, you have filtering ability from selecting mild, moderate teachers on the drop-down box in your job title area. If you have a variety of different job titles, not just one job title, but it's localized to a school or two, I would search for those school or two. If you have a handful of people, let's say you have 15 individuals who are coming from 15 different places and a variety of different job titles, my suggestion would be to find those 15 ID numbers and then directly input those 15 ID numbers to extract and filter there. The one thing with BI it's not the most specific filter. So I think I forgot to mention this. BI really is intended to be the first filter where you get everyone you're looking at, but maybe not so refined where you exclude all the people you don't need. My suggestion is with BI, find the filter that fits and includes everyone that you need. When you export to Excel, then you can filter based on who you need and delete the rows that are not to be included in the request for board approval. So there's not a perfect way to do it for a district person, but we hope this is a much more efficient way than hand typing in, upwards of 50 individuals and IDs that introduces quite a bit of error, human error in that. If any of you are for the first time doing it, reach out to Rocio, Yesenia. I'm also available and I can help you out as well. So you have plenty of support. We're going to be posting these directions, and we'll post the frequently asked questions that we saw in this chat box in the same area where we post the request for board approval directions. That will be on the HR side on the internal portal. Okay? Thank you everyone for your time.